assault,
You're
mate.
private property, I can do what I want.
I'm trying to go.
Get
Still
off.
assault, mate. Assault. And you've been self-right.
Go. Get off my lap. Going. Go on. Whoa. That's one more. Anybody else wants her?
No, we don't want
Come on.
Hey. Oh my god. Oh my.
Now, this was just an unimportant brawl in the UK, but way more serious things are happening as we speak in West Africa, with 19,000 farmers and herders dead, and hundreds of thousands forced to flee. I'm talking about the farmer-herder conflicts going on in Mali, Nigeria, CAR, and so on. If you already know about them, just keep watching, because 99% of the content I found on this topic was biased and didn't paint the whole picture by a long shot. And if this is your first time hearing about it, you are in for a treat, my friend. So, in the red corner we have farmers growing crops, feeding their families, caring for their kids, all the good stuff. In the blue corner we have herders, raising livestock, feeding their families, caring for their kids, all the good stuff. Wait, so why are they killing each other? Interesting. Well, as you've seen, there are plenty of reasons, and each of those countries I named has a specific set of problems. And since I don't have the resources of a Hollywood studio to make a 3-hour movie, I'm gonna focus only on the most affected country, aka Nigeria. What's funny is that one side is portrayed as the victims who are defending themselves, and the other as the bad guys. And it changes based on what video you watch or what article you read. And it seems to also be the mindset that both of the sides have, namely that they are the victims and wanna defend themselves, leading to tit-for-tat escalation. But there is also a third party, spicing things up in a major way. It's the extremist groups, which there are many of in Nigeria, that made this conflict go as violent as it is, as they are constantly adding fuel to the fire. Let's look at the nationwide situation. Many decades ago, most of the herders were happily living in the north of the country, and most of the farmers in the south and the middle belt. Then, shit hit the fan. Planet allegedly started to warm up, the north became hot and arid, the extremist groups and bandits appeared and became really fresh, and farmers started farming on big areas of land. So the desperate semi-nomadic herders simply had to move south. But as they moved into the middle belt and further south, they discovered that the former grazing routes were taken over by other farmers, because the farmer population exploded there. So now you have farmers everywhere, even on your historical land. And they don't want your 1,000-headed cattle herds trampling all over the fields. So what do? Well, you just take your cattle and move into the protected forest areas. And that would work, I guess, if it wasn't for the extremists and bandits camping in the forests. And since you don't wanna get shot and don't wanna get your cattle stolen, cause that's a fairly common practice, you first arm yourself and second go back into the fields. And that explains why modern Nigerian herdsmen graze their cattle with AK-47s instead of sticks. Note that a young male herder carrying a weapon is visually hard to distinguish from a young male extremist who wants to shoot you. Now let's look at the farmer's perspective. You are peacefully living in your village, growing some millet, some yams, and one day you hear that your neighboring village was massacred by gunmen. They slaughtered children, raped and killed women, burned houses. And the next day you see armed herdsmen and their cattle is destroying your field. I would be pissed. I would be furious. I would also take my gun and go solve the problem. Well, not that I have a gun. But this leads to the farmers absolutely detesting the herders, and for example poisoning some of the yams and the water so that the cattle die, or they just go and massacre it directly. The big problem is almost no evidence. Many of the herders attack farmer villages incidents are described as the attack was carried out by gunmen believed to be herders. Also, some of the farmers don't even have evidence that they own the land they farm, or that they have the rights to do so, because rural Nigerian real estate still keeps a traditional system basically without documents, which enables a lot of illicit practices. To add to that, the police haven't been successful in resolving the farmer-herder disputes, and don't even have much trust among the locals. Now we have four sides of the problem. Pissed farmers, pissed herdsmen believed to be terrorists, terrorists believed to be herders, and incompetent police. Wait, there is one more. As all countries do, Nigeria has a corrupt government, so this is the base layer of the problem. But now it gets so complicated that I had to make this graphic. I hope it will help you understand the situation better. The farmers have more ethnicities across the country, but they are mostly Christian. On the other side, the herdsmen are almost always of the Fulani ethnicity, and are almost always Muslim. In the middle we have the extremist groups and bandits that stem from and attack both sides. Then we have the corrupt government, which is part Christian and part Muslim. And of course, the not so effective police. When I was talking about the extremist groups adding fuel to the fire, I meant, for example, this attack on a church during the mass. Now, given the state of the country, there is no evidence of who did it. But if I had to take a guess, it probably wouldn't be the honest guy caring for his cattle herd and his family. So, when you now look at the playing field from the Christian farmer's perspective, you see guys with guns looking like Muslim herdsmen attacking you, the police not doing much to help you, and a Muslim government which obviously has no interest in helping you. The same goes for the Fulani herdsmen. There are people attacking you, there is a Christian government, and there is the police. Pretty dire situation, innit? Now, the solution proposed by the government is that the herders should buy land and start ranching, which would make sense. The problem is that the national ranching scheme is pushed by anti-Fulani people, and it discriminates against them. It's much easier to get a ranch if you are a local. However, since the Fulani herdsmen are semi-nomadic, they have to jump through hoops to get government support. This all leading to the Fulani herdsmen not wanting to give up their lifestyle and start ranching. But if the Fulani started ranching, it would arguably be the best solution to the farmer-herder conflict. It obviously wouldn't solve all the other problems in the country though. And that's the current situation. Thousands are dying per year, insecurity all over the country, corrupt government, and no end in sight. So yeah, now you see that farming isn't just planting crops and grazing cattle, but also a deadly competition for land and resources in some cases. I hope I set the record straight on this one. Thanks for watching.